soil pollution is a very globally concerning problem, but in the country that we are targeting today, it is more concerning than in most other countries. Dating back to the year 2017, India has been facing a very bad soil pollution crisis. Although the country has been facing this problem for many years as of today, the issue wasn't addressed as seriously as it should be, which means until this day, India's soil health keeps depleting and depleting. Soil pollution in general could happen because of any pollutant at all, be it salts or metals or minerals such as petroleum, for example. But in this particular case, it happens because of irresponsible garbage disposal and unkempt garbage waste areas. So these areas are what contributes the most to India's soil pollution.
What is soil contamination? Soil contamination is the occurrence of contaminants in soil above a certain level, causing deterioration or loss of one or more soil function. So, the function of the soil is as a plant production, matter cycling, carbon solution, filter and buffer for water, habitat or biological activity. But if one of those functions is not functioning, it means the soil is contaminated. So the presence of toxic chemicals, pollutants or contaminants in soil in high enough concentration to pose a risk to human health and ecosystem. So soil contamination is a global threat.
So what causes the soil pollution in India is actually the overuse the chemical fertilizer and biocides and also municipal solid waste. So the biocide firstly used to kill germ and unwanted plant and also degrade the quality of the soil. The widely used fertilizer and biocide is chlorinated hydrocarbon. The use of biocide increased when there is a Green Revolution in 1966 and 1967 in India. This causes the consumption of fertilizer of roses increase from 0.55 kg to 67 kg, and this causes India require 45 to 50 million tons of fertilizer. Thus, pollution increase and organic farming does not use any form of chemical fertilizer. There are seven heterogeneous mixture of various constituents that causes the municipal solid waste to increase. Firstly, the dust, ashes and refuse and rubbish. Secondly is the trade refuses. Thirdly is the carcasses of dead animals and other matter. Fourth is trash sweeping, sandstone, leaf and other dead vegetation. Fifth is waste from shop. Sixth is other solid waste. And lastly is garbage and rubbish.
One of the most concerning effects of soil pollution is in polluted soil, there is carcinogens. Carcinogens is a substance that can trigger cancer development in humans and in other microorganisms as well. So this problem is very concerning because it involves us humans, and when humans have those carcinogens inside their body, for example, if they inhale it from the air or if they make contact with it indirectly, and when it enters our body, it can trigger the cancer cells. So when there are carcinogens present in our environment around us, all the humans that are there will be exposed to the risk of developing cancer inside themselves. And this is a problem which can happen if soil pollution isn't treated correctly.
Effects of soil contamination to animals. Habitats of the location of soil contamination are slowly threatened by heavy metal pollutants such as cadmium, chromium, nickel and cobalt. This happens when the soil contamination destroys some of the first layers of primary food chain, causing the whole cycles of food to be disrupted. Not only that, soil contamination has also led to various diseases among the animals such as Chytridiomycosis and also Ebola. Over the years, soil contamination has become one of the biggest factors that leads to the loss of 1/3 of India's wetland, causing 12% wild mammals and 3% of bird species to be extinct. and also 19% of amphibians to be critically endangered.
We know that soil pollution gives effects to the environment, humans and animals. So what we want to know is how does the soil pollution affects the environment. So naturally, soil pollution contributes to other forms of environmental pollution, mainly the air pollutions. So we know that when there is chemical spill or chemical substance use like fertilizer use and pesticides use, it can cause soil pollution to occur. And when this chemical spill is in the soil, it will be evaporated to the atmosphere. So it can cause the pollution of air, and it will also cause the acid rain to happen as many acidic substances on the atmosphere. Okay, so how to overcome this soil pollution issue? So the first action that we can do is by applying 3R, which consists of reduce, reuse and recycle. We need to know what are these 3R. So the first one is reduce. So what needs to be reduced? So the first one, we need to reduce the chemical fertilizer and pesticide use, which is by applying biofertilizers and manures. Or we can also apply biological methods of pest control because it can reduce the use of pesticide. Thereby, the soil pollution can be minimized. And next, we move on to reuse. What needs to be reused? So we can reuse the materials like glass containers, plastic bags, paper and also clothes. And by reducing this solid waste, it can also reduce the soil pollution to occur. And lastly, we need to recycle. What needs to be recycled? So the things that we need to know about recycling method is materials like we can reuse again, we can recycle like papers, some kinds of plastics and glass can be recycled again and again, as it helps in the conservation of natural resources. For example, we know that paper is made up of trees. So if we recycle the paper used again and again, we can save about 17 trees, about 1 ton of paper, recovery of 1 ton of paper.
Action to be taken. Reforestation. Reforestation is the process of planting back trees to the places where it had been cut off. This process includes cleaning up the places, picking up the trash, treating the soil, and also stop the pollutants, the source of pollutants that pollutes the soil. Thus, it is the most effective for the long term. It will help by protecting the soil from microbes within the impact of sun, wind, and rain.
To sum up this parliament, soil pollution is caused by contaminant in soil. For example, the occurrence of chemical substance. Soil pollution also gives effect to human, animals, and the environment as what that was mentioned before. And not to forget that soil pollution can also be overcome by applying 3R and also reforestation. We need to bear in mind that soil pollution may harm us in many aspects, for example, our health. Therefore, we must all work together to provide a remedy to the earth's soil. That's all from us. See you next time. Bye!